And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or head down to Dayton, Kentucky, see our favorite people, tell them to pump it up. They will get you 15% off of that Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. All right, Aaron, Easter weekend we were starting to get back on our roll, and then Easter weekend came along and kind of slowed down the wheels of the train. So it got to shovel some coal back in the steam engine and get the Nightcap train moving back along. So let's get to it tonight. And you know what we haven't talked about in a long time, really?
Do tell.
The NCAA tournament. It hasn't happened on this show.
The last time we talked about it was the disappointment that was the Big 12, which continued actually last week to disappoint, albeit it came on the heels of a massive injury. And
you're right. And Iowa State played a good game. They lost a good game. Like that. That's the Sweet 16 and beyond. Like when you're in the Sweet 16 and beyond, you're going to have good games, and one team is generally going to play well and lose, and they played pretty well and lost.
The problem is it makes the conference look like it was perhaps inflated when these teams that were
whatever. Let people in the Big East and the ACC worry about shit that doesn't matter. They also built up a little equity, Aaron, in winning the last two championships prior to UConn last year. Like, of the last 3 championships, the Big 12 has 2. So they're allowed a down tournament here and there.
What have you done for me lately? It's the transfer portal era.
It's clickbait media.
It's the transfer portal era. You can rebuild if you aren't rebuilding in 1 year, what are you doing? Just ask everyone.
But overall, man, it felt like coming into this tourney that UConn was a monster. And as it turns out, UConn is a monster. I don't know that I've seen very many things in basketball resemble what that 30-0 run looked like against a really good team. Like Illinois is really good. And they just said, wait, no, you're out. Shoo. You're bugging me. It's 23-23 shoo. It's 53-23. They didn't score for 50 minutes real time.
It was watching it was unreal. I was just kind of scoreboard watching, right? Like I wasn't actually watching the game, but I'm watching.
I was watching the game.
They haven't scored since halftime. They haven't scored in 8.5 minutes. It took forever for them to put 2 points in.
Yeah, it was insanity. I wonder, Alabama, like them playing Alabama Saturday is going to be fascinating because Alabama doesn't want to defend. Like they want to just run up and down the floor. And when you watch some of if you watch some of the action and stuff that UConn runs, they're just throwing straight line passes to guys standing wide open under the rim for layups. Like the thing that was fascinating about that 30-0 run, Aaron, usually when you see a run like that, it's like teams are just bombing threes. Like they get hot and hit 6-7 threes in like a short stretch. UConn hasn't shot well from 3 the whole tournament. Did you see the conspiracy?
Sorry, I think I said Purdue. I wanted to correct that. I think I said Purdue. I meant UConn, but go on.
Yeah.
I did not
Did you see the conspiracy about this tournament? That they're overinflating the balls?
Oh, I did see that.
And that's why the shooting percentages are down.
But was that an April Fool's thing, or was that an actual?
No.
Because I'm very confused at this point in time. Like, I know people are still shooting off April Fool's jokes on April 2nd, which
those people should be shot. They should be shot.
I just don't like April Fools anymore. I don't find it fun or amusing in an era where I actually have to pay attention to newsy things. I don't enjoy any of April Fools.
It's also the anniversary of my mom and my grandpa's death. So I don't have time for your fuckery on April 1st. I'm just saying. That's where I'm at on that specific day on the calendar.
Fair enough.
I don't even really get on social media on April 1st. I just kind of stay away.
Let's go back to the overinflating of the balls, though.
Okay.
Wasn't that brought up by a UConn player, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
So it wasn't a guy who just sour grapes, I'm out of the tournament, I want to talk about how overinflated these balls are. And that's not even bringing up the fact that there was one game played where the 3-point lines were not the same on both sides of the court.
That was women's, but yes.
But how does that even happen?
Apparently they said the contractor that did the court screwed up and he made one 3-point line 9 inches shorter than the regulation line that was on the other side of the floor. And they played 5 games on that court. And you want to know the craziest part? You want to know the craziest part? The team shooting from the closer line shot worse.
It's because, well, I mean, that makes sense. If it's
your brain says it's this many feet.
Right.
And you're shooting it, a foot shorter. Your muscle memory is off. So it's just funny, like the way you would think, well, it's closer, it's got to be easier. Well, yeah, if you practiced on closer, it would be easier. But if your brain says it's 22 feet, 3 inches or whatever, and it's actually 21 feet, 6 inches, the ball's going to be way off. But the overinflation. I actually saw a video of 8 or 10 clips of guys getting out in transition and just they go to take a hard dribble around half court to make their move, and the ball just boom and bounced over their heads. And it was a former basketball player. He's like, can you not tell that these things they showed a picture of Steph Curry dribbling, and when the ball hits the ground, it gives it.
Yeah, you can physically see it.
Yeah. And he's like, watch these balls, dude. They're not giving it all. They're going to take a power dribble to do something, and that thing's going boom. And then they showed guys he's like, this is a 42% shooter from 3. This is a 47% shooter from 3. And they're missing the rim by 5, 6, 7 inches. He said, because the ball there's no give that you're used to when you're shooting the ball because it's overinflated. So yeah, there's a conspiracy that they've been playing this entire tournament. And it would explain a lot, because guess what? 3-point shooting in this tournament has not been great. It has not been at the level that you expect in the final tournament.
Do you think this is similar to when baseball started juicing the balls but didn't tell anybody a couple of years ago, and they just did it because they wanted to see more home runs? They wanted to see something that was more enjoyable for the fans, so they just did it, didn't tell anybody, didn't do anything. And even when it came out, when they started dissecting the balls compared to other balls from other years, they just kind of were like, I don't know.
Home runs were down. Made a business decision.
They didn't even do that. They just shrugged. I don't know.
I know, but that's what the shrug meant. What were we going to do? Guys can't hit home runs anymore.
You took away. We weren't allowed to juice the players anymore, so we juiced the balls.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think they call them juice balls?
The
juice players were out. The juice balls were in.
Yeah.
But it has the opposite effect in basketball, because you're used to some give. You're used to the ball being a little more friendly. So, but overall, I would be shocked if we're not talking about UConn cutting down the nets on Monday night. I look, Purdue's good. Edie's good. I don't think they're anything close to UConn. Like I said, Alabama fascinates me because Alabama just wants to score 100 points. Like if UConn doesn't slow them down, they'll be able to keep up point wise. Now they're not going to stop UConn at all. But I mean that could be a 90 to 87 game in the Final Four, which would be electric on Saturday night.
I don't like NATO.
I don't really care for him either, and then the big fella, DJ Burns, going against Zach Edey.
Everyone loves DJ Burns at this point. The NFL loves DJ Burns. They're talking about drafting him.
Have you seen his footwork? Have you seen the spin move, like the pirouette that guy has?
He's light on his toes.
He's awesome. He's so fun to watch, and he's so good.
As somebody who loves post game, come on. Yeah.
Oh, this is but he doesn't dunk, Aaron.
It doesn't matter. He's still backing people down and doing the things that I grew up watching that makes basketball enjoyable to me. There's no Euro step to that boy's game.
The best thing about his game, though, is he can pass, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are trying to send doubles at him, and he's just dissecting them. Bang, bang, bang. And then like, well, shit, we can't double him anymore. And then he gets it low block, gets one lean back, and hits him with that spin move that's like Mach 90. Boop, layup, foul, going to the free throw line.
He came in the same. He was like the third rated power forward, I believe, in the state of South Carolina, behind the guy with the Pelicans that played for Duke.
Zion,
thank you. I just completely blanked out there. But yeah, he was like third behind Zion in South Carolina. Same class.
Zion was pretty good.
Yeah, he was all right.
But that's been so fun to watch and see them kind of like have that, it's Jim Valvano all over again, kind of. Like had to win the ACC tournament, neck on the line every game. And you go from a 4-game losing streak to end the year to a 9-game winning streak through the conference tournament and all the way to the Final Four.
And you beat everyone who was anyone. You beat Duke twice. You beat North Carolina. I mean, you name a team in the ACC, and they had to beat them to get there.
So here's going to be the fascinating part about Saturday there, Aaron. Are they really going to put 2 fouls on DJ Burns in the first segment just for standing near Zach Edey like they do everybody else? Because if they do that, the entire country may revolt against the NCAA tournament if they put DJ Burns on the bench for ticky-tack fouls against Zach Edey.
I just hope they actually count 3 seconds for Zach Edey, because that dude is a 3-second violation. That's all he does. He doesn't leave the key. He doesn't even attempt to move out.
Well, apparently all you have to do is get like a part of your shoe out.
I don't even think he's doing that. But
he's like he gets like the tip top of his size 22s out of the lane, and that resets the clock.
Trash.
So yeah. What else? Anything else on the tournament?
On the men's side, not really.
Me either. I just hope Danny wins again. That's my guy. It's really fun seeing him go from, a guy that everybody hated to now like the realization of like, nah, man, this guy's a fucking genius and knows exactly what he's doing. I love it.
I think a lot of people hate him.
Women's side. Yeah, I think they're coming around. I think there's a lot less hate for. Well, and look, if they win 2 in a row, then
you win too much.
The hero arc turns fast.
There is a quick heel turn if you win 2 in a row.
Right. Women's side, biggest, most viewed game in history last night. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, South Carolina, or not South Carolina, but Iowa gets the best of LSU. takes down the defending national champions, and then an awesome nightcap game with Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins. I'm fascinated with the explosion of the women's game. And I think you're starting to see a little bit more depth. If for the longest time it was like, okay, Tennessee is going to win it every year, and then here's UConn, and they've kind of overtaken Tennessee, and then it was South Carolina that kind of overtook UConn, but there hasn't been a whole lot of interesting depth below like the main storyline. And it feels like now the sport is getting to a place at least where it's really interesting. And at the top, I mean, what?
You've had LSU, Iowa enter the conversation. Yeah. There's certainly some other teams out there that are inserting themselves for sure.
And maybe the greatest player in the history of women's basketball, or at least at the worst in the conversation, in Caitlin Clark. That's gonna, and she talks trash, and people complain about her flopping and whining to the officials and all the good stuff that people love to complain about in basketball.
So she's LeBron,
right? Essentially, but I'm gonna have to figure out going forward how to make a little bit more time for it, because we've talked about this in the past. Like, this season made it really difficult to get into anything other than like Big 12 basketball, because it was so good that, like, in order to keep up with everything, you had to be dialed in on Saturdays. You had to be dialed in on Monday nights and Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights. And that doesn't give you a whole lot of time for like being a fan of other stuff. You look at it and say, okay, well, you got all Thursday night. Well, nobody plays on Thursday night. The American plays on Thursday night, and I don't give a shit about watching the American. And then nobody plays on Friday, and guess who plays on Sunday? Again, the fucking American. So you don't get a lot of time to really dig in, which I hate, because I feel like I missed a really like interesting group of storylines in women's hoops this year that I just kind of watched from afar.
Yeah, I don't have time to watch women's basketball. That is not something even on my radar, especially with about to have another child in the mix. Yeah, no,
you're not going to have time for this.
We'll figure that out.
I'll just say, right. Like, you're going to be busy. You might
I made
time or find time for this. But you
don't
have time for this.
My conversations may be more like Dave's, where I'm like, you know what? I just turned it off. The score got out of control, and I just turned it off. It may be something like that, but no, I'll be doing my damnedest to be keeping up. But yeah,
you get what I'm saying.
I surely don't have time to add. Trying to watch the Big 12 this year was enough of a challenge for me. Trying to catch any other additional games on top of Cincinnati. So yeah, trying to watch anything else,
an entire other sport, and be knowledgeable about it.
I mean, I've discarded the NBA, and I love the NBA, but I scoreboard watch, but that's it. Like, legitimately, not even turning on the game to scoreboard watch, but just checking the score after it's over to, if I want to place a bet, know where things are going.
You know how my brain is, man. If I'm not in it, like if I'm not like hands dirty in it, I have a hard time.
Yeah.
Because that's how I have to know everything. I have to know what's going on. It's my nature to be in the weeds. And but I will say, I mean, if Katrina Merriweather can get this thing going at UC, women's hoops has momentum. Like, it has legitimate momentum in the public discourse. So I think that'll be interesting. All right. You got anything else?
I think that wraps it up.
All right. We'll see you back tomorrow night for the BCJ pod and another nightcap. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.